Hi guys, my name is Shivani and you are so welcome here at Happy Holi. There are a lot of myths, around a C-section delivery, what you should and should not do, and I have faced that ecosystem myself where you are forever confused about, okay, this is valid for a vaginal delivery, but is it valid for a C-section? Can I have this after a C-section? Can I do this after a C-section? My views around getting back in shape have been largely shaped by Rujita Devekar, who I find absolutely incredible, and she is constantly encouraging everyone that it is not weight loss that we are focusing on, it is about becoming the strongest and fittest version of yourself. So that is the school of thought I come from. It is about getting back in shape and it is about becoming fitter, and that's something I wanted to achieve as well after my C-section. And so let me just share my process with you. I had put on a total of 11 kgs during my pregnancy, and 6 of which I lost right off the bat after my delivery, and the rest 5, incidentally, some of it I lost a little bit later, but then rest of it I actually never did end up losing because I was breastfeeding the entire time. And so by the time I conceived for the second time, I had not lost that weight, but I had come back in shape in terms of losing the stubborn belly fat. And I do believe that some of the diet and the lifestyle processes that I followed had a lot of impact on that. So let's talk about the diet first. All the links around how some of the things that I'm going to be mentioning, how they are supposed to be cooked, they are going to be in the description box below. The first thing after delivery for about 40 days that I consumed during the day, the first thing around 6 o'clock, 6:30 was something called Harira. Harira is a traditional postpartum food that is cooked in jaggery, and that is basically jaggery and water that's warmed up, and dry fruits are kind of heated into that, and it kind of becomes like a fudge. And you can basically make this and keep this in the fridge. It lasts for about 10 days. It is very good to taste. So it actually works like a medicine for your body. So that is what I consumed, like 2 tablespoons of that, like first thing in the morning. The second thing was breakfast. Breakfast was around 8 to 8:30 in the morning. This was regular food, poha or paratha, and breakfast was something that I did by about 8:30. Between breakfast and lunch was a mid-meal. I used to take a laddu. Now this was typically this is where I try to insert a lot of the postpartum must-have foods that are actually recommended in the book called Pregnancy Notes, and so gond and almonds and dry coconut, all that good stuff, it went into the making of this laddu, and so this laddu held me well till about lunchtime. All through the day, I was having something called ajwain pani. Basically, it is believed in Ayurveda that after delivery for about 40 days, you should not have water as it is. You should instead have water that has been boiled with some sort of an herb, some sort of a spice, like it can be ajwain, it can be jeera, or something. It not only improves the digestibility of water, but it prevents any sort of digestive issues in the new mother, and consequently in the new baby as well. So I sipped on ajwain water, throughout the day instead of normal water. This was, I think, the hardest part because, and I would kind of take normal water once in a way as well, but I would always kind of prefer this ajwain water over regular water. So how you make this is very simple. You take 1 liter of water, you put a teaspoon of ajwain in it, and you boil it, and then you let it cool, let it come to about room temperature. On the warmer side is slightly better, and then you kind of keep pouring it out and you keep drinking it just the way you drink normal water. Then comes lunch. Lunch was usually a rice-based meal. It was dal, sabji, rice. I had a lot of rice after my delivery. I anyway enjoy rice, and rice is supposed to be very, very good to kind of build in the good bacteria, get in the B vitamins. It also prevents hair loss. So rice is anyway easy to digest, and so I ate a lot of rice. Along with the lunch meal, I would have some sort of a pickle or a chutney, and these were again homemade. So if it was a chutney, it was an amla chutney. All of us know the benefits of amla. I'm not going to go there. Or it was a raw turmeric pickle that was again made at home. You get something called raw turmeric or kachi haldi in the market, and there are kind of ways to make a very quick pickle out of that at home. Turmeric is very very healing for the body. Raw turmeric, is very useful when you're trying to heal internally. So that is something I consumed in pickle format. Between lunch and dinner was usually time for chai and some sort of a snack. That snack usually was panjiri. Now panjiri again is a traditional postpartum food. It has gond, it has something called kamarkas, which is very good for your back. It is again full of dry fruits, full of the good stuff. So I would have panjiri. Dinner was early. Dinner was by about 7 o'clock, between 6:30 to 7, and this was something with roti. This was roti, dal and sabji. That was dinner. And before sleeping at night, I would usually have a glass of milk. Now, one thing I want to mention here, which I think was incredibly effective in kind of ensuring that I was doing right by my body and doing right by my hormones, is that if you notice, like, the entire structure of the daily diet was a very regular day. There was no midnight snacking. There was no consuming food at inappropriate times. It was, breakfast was a set time and lunch was about 12:30. Dinner was early, it was about 6:30, and then there was a glass of milk before sleeping. This is a protocol that I follow even today. So this has always worked for me, and this is I think problems happen when you're kind of snacking during the night and when you are kind of waking up earlier, and that is when I think your hormones and your body are a little bit confused, when your meal times go awry. So I think this had a lot to do with how my body was assimilating the nutrients. So this is one thing I want you to take away from this. By my bedside, I would always keep saunf and mishri, roasted fennel seeds and mishri. This is very effective again in helping your lactation if you're a breastfeeding mother. But more than that, what it really helps with is ensuring that you don't have any digestive issues. Fennel is incredibly good for your vaginal health as well. So consuming fennel after food, which has anyway been a traditional Indian practice, was something that I did post delivery. The laddus I would always also alternate with something called an olive laddu. Olive, if you're not familiar, that is also called halim seeds, that is also called garden cress seeds. These are incredibly good for you. Now they have become really popular thanks to Rujita Divekar's mention of them, and they're very easily available online. You basically soak them and you make laddus out of them. Or if making laddus is too much of a hassle, then you can just kind of soak them for a couple of hours, and at night when you take your milk, you can just kind of insert the soaked olive. It is as simple as that. Olive is extremely good for you. Look it up on the internet. It is very very good for a lot of things in your body. You will not have iron deficiency. It takes care of ensuring that your body has all the micronutrients that it needs as well. So check out this olive. Talking about activity and exercise, I was very fortunate to have a doctor who guided me in the right direction right from the get-go. She was very encouraging around the fact that just because you've had a C-section, I don't want you sitting around, and you should get up and feel free to move about. I don't remember a single day when I didn't kind of move around and did my stuff. And of course for the first 2 weeks it was just around the room, but I would always go out, have meals on the dining table. I would kind of always do that, and I was very active right from the get-go. I didn't leave my house till about 40 days, but during the 40 days I was walking around and just like I normally would, and I think that helped with the recovery aspect a lot, because the more you keep yourself mobile after a C-section, it is very very good for your body to kind of start coming into its normal space. So that is something I did. I started yoga 5 months post delivery. I listened to my body and how it was feeling, and I started with a yoga practice. I have been doing yoga off and on for many years, but I felt it was best to do it under a trained instructor this time, because I was postpartum. So I would have this really great instructor come to my house, and she would kind of have this 1 hour class with me, and I felt really exhausted by the end of it. But by the end of our 6 months, I was kind of I was not getting as exhausted, and I think yoga had a lot to do with me losing that really stubborn belly fat. So a lot of credit goes to the yoga classes. After yoga, I felt fit enough to start lifting weights again. So again, under a trained, instructor, I started lifting weights. I started going to the gym. This, for some reason, did not work out that well for me, in the sense that I was still breastfeeding, I was still having sleepless nights. So, my body was really exhausted. And I think this is where I kind of pushed it a little bit, in the sense that there were fortunately no fallouts, like negative fallouts of that. But this is not something I would recommend, especially if you're breastfeeding and you're having sleepless nights. So yeah, this is something I also did. The biggest factor I feel, that contributed to becoming fitter after my C-section was keeping timings that were aligned with nature, in terms of getting up, in terms of going to sleep. Okay, so now one may wonder, okay, how does that work? Because babies kind of get up and sleep at any time. Yes, that is true, but you know what, babies are also very well aligned with nature. So after the first couple of weeks, you will notice the baby falling into a certain rhythm, right? So for example, if the baby wakes up very early, 5:30, 6 o'clock, yes, then I would encourage you, if you have support, then to give the baby to somebody else. Get maybe an hour and a half of extra sleep, but have breakfast on time. That's something I did. It was not that I was waking up at 10 o'clock, eating breakfast at 10 o'clock, because I think that is when the body sort of is not able to kind of do its weight loss job or do its fat loss job really well, right? You've confused it. It doesn't know what is night, what is day. The circadian rhythm is completely off. And so, I think a large part of the fact why I feel I got back in shape very quickly is because I kept very, very human timings of waking up and sleeping. I would sleep at night at about 8:30 when the baby went down. And this again was not easy to do, because that is the only time you have to spend with your partner, that is the only time you have for me time. But this is a call that one needs to make, and I did follow this more or less for at least the first 40 days, and even later I would try and kind of sleep within 45 minutes to an hour of the baby sleeping. So not kind of staying up beyond, because the baby is going to wake up, and then you're going to have to wake up, and you're going to kind of regret it, because you'll not get the rest. So that's all I wanted to share. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if I missed out on anything, just comment below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Until the next time we meet, please take care.